Hello, I am Rakaba18. Today I am bringing you the final operator guide in Rainbow Six Extraction. This is the final operator, at least at the timing of this video, which is in mid to late June. By the time this video is filmed, we should see another operator in a month or two. And by the time those start to be added, we will do in-depth guides on new ones as well. But for now, this is Zofia, the final operator in Rainbow Six Extraction at the time of this video. It is she is an operator that was added back in March, I believe, during the spillover update. She was instantly beloved on my part, and she's probably one of the best operators in the game, if not the best operator in the game. In fact, I would go so far as to say that Zofia is probably one of the only operators who is probably going to end up with a big nerf here at some point. Her kit, her guns, her utility, everything about her, and as well as her perks, are just kind of out of control. And so I just would, as a community, kind of brace for her to be nerfed in some form or fashion at some point. So let's talk about it. There's a lot to get into. Zofia is a stun and knockback operator, much in the same vein as Ella or Nomad, and to a lesser degree, Sledge. So let's talk about what she does. She has a KS-79 lifeline, which is a attachment to her gun, can stun and do impact grenades. So much like Ella can throw her stuns, Zofia has stuns that attach to her gun and impact grenades that she can target in a specific area. And that last part there is kind of insane, especially given that this is a level 1 ability that you should get. Zofia can self-revive herself. We'll get into some of the intricacies of that as we do the in-game footage in just a minute. At level 2, you get an increase to grenade counts for level 3. Or 2-3, excuse me. Means you go from 2 grenades each to 3 grenades each. At level 3, you get a really good AR upgrade with the M762. We'll talk about her kit here in just a minute. Movement speed, 25% increase at level 4. Resilient revival. This is so insane when it's paired, especially with her ability to self-revive. She can not only self-revive herself, but she can actually down enough Archeans to then revive herself and save her perk there. Arsenal update, Scorpion EVO submachine gun at level 6. And at level 7, self-revive starting at 70 health, which is among the highest in the game. Self-reviving also reloads all of your guns, because as if it's already not good enough now, whenever you self-revive, whether that's through Resilient Revival or through your Withstand, you automatically have a full clip of ammo, and that's going to be insane, as we'll talk about when we get to her loadout. At level 8, you get an insane increase to damage reduction at 40%. Because her kit wasn't good enough before. And then at level 9, you get probably her weakest upgrade, honestly, is the shotgun. It's a decent shotgun if you like shotguns, but I'm not a fan. So level 10, every 120 seconds, you get 1 new round for each grenade. So there's a video coming on the channel here where I talk a little bit about how I feel like it's unusual and weird how they've balanced some of these alts. Some of these alts have rechargeable, and it doesn't make any sense to me how Zofia has a rechargeable stun and impact grenade, but Nomad does not, or somehow Gridlock doesn't, even though her ability is more of a defensive one. So we'll talk about that in that video. I just don't understand how Zofia has recharges, but Smoke doesn't. It's a weird. Or to a lesser degree, and maybe to an equal degree, Capitao doesn't have a recharge. So I think that's going to end up getting nerfed, or other people are going to have to get buffed, but that is among the best progression kits you'll ever see in this game, and it's honestly kind of insane. So let's talk about her weapons. As you recall, whenever you self-revive, whether through her perks or through Withstand, however you do it, whenever you revive, self-revive that is, you will automatically reload your gun, which is insane when you have a LMG that has like a 4-week reload speed like the LMGE here. This is the gun I tend to go with the most. I simply like the LMGs in this game. Their reload speed be damned. The damage is pretty decent here. It puts a lot of damage down the lane. It does have a little bit of a recoil that you'll need to control, but it feels good. I like this gun. It's probably my top choice, especially as it relates to self-revives and then auto reloads. My second choice would probably be the M762 here. A little bit higher damage, much higher fire rate, and a little bit more damage, a little bit better fire rate, much lower mag speed, and the recoil is out of control here. So as it compares to the LMGE, this one's going to be much tougher to control. But if you have no issues with recoil control, this is your gun for sure. Scorpion is a really decent SMG. I would say it's my least favorite SMG in the game to a degree. The fire rate's really good. The damage is pretty terrible, and the recoil pattern is pretty terrible as well. Plus, the ammo capacity is really good, and the reload speed's good, but your mobility is one of the main reasons you would probably want to use this gun, that and the fire rate. I almost never use her shotgun, and as you can see, it's got one of the worst recoil patterns in the entire game. But it is a mag-fed shotgun, so it's decent if you like those. All right, so one of the things you want to remember with all of these operators, and Zofia is no different, is that you kind of want to expand their kit with React Tech explosives and gear. I almost always, when I'm running solo with Zofia, almost always use a revive kit. And the reason for that is you can self-revive yourself pretty much infinitely, and you can refresh that with a React Tech box so that if you use it, you don't lose it. You'll lose it temporarily, but then you refresh it with a box and you're set. She is pretty insane as it relates to gearing her up with a revive slot, which basically means she does all of the insane things she does, but she can also self-revive herself pretty much infinitely. And if you're in a group, the only reason you wouldn't want to have a revive kit is if you have Rook, because he sort of provides that for you. But as you can see as well, she has one of the highest armor ratings in the game, and her speed is pretty decent. So she's going to move pretty quick. She's going to take very little damage. She does so much damage in terms of her stuns and her impact grenades. I tend to pair her with frags or C4 simply because I already have a couple of paralysis grenades as a function of her utility, or stun grenades as a function of her utility. You can make an argument for other things if you need that, but you want to kind of do damage with Zofia here. So there's a lot to talk about as it relates to her ultimate and how it applies, some basic tips, some advanced tips. So let's go ahead and take a look at some in-game footage, and I'll show you what that looks like. All right, here we are in game with a max level Zofia. As always, this is a max level 10 operator guide. Keep that in mind as we walk through this video and I demonstrate some points to you here. So I have brought Zofia with her RG15, which is her only secondary option, and I tend to bring her LMG, and I'm going to show you real quick a basic reload here. And as you can see, it's quite slow. It's not the slowest in the game. I think Finka's is slightly slower, but it's up there. It's 150 round mag, so it takes a second to reload. So you just want to keep that in mind as you're moving throughout the world, and make sure that you give yourself enough time to reload it. So Zofia has a lot to talk about in terms of her ult and stuff like that, but I want to give a basic tip for you, especially if you're playing in solo or even in a group. This is almost universally true. I think Zofia is one of the only operators that sort of necessitates a revive kit for the ability to essentially revive herself as many times as possible. When you go down with Zofia, and you have a revive kit, you can use Withstand as often as you want to. So I will show you what that looks like here in just a minute. It does not consume the revive kit if you have one, because you're using Withstand rather than the revive kit itself. Now, there's some other important information as it relates to that. We'll get to that in just a second. So let's show you some basics here. She has a stun grenade and an impact grenade. So these impact grenades should explode instantly, and I'll kind of show you what they look like against an Archean if we can find one here. Before we attack these nests, we're going to run up here. And these impact grenades are instant, whereas the stun grenades can take a second to deploy, so you want to remember that too. Now, these impact grenades will not one-shot things. As you can see, this gentleman gets knocked back. The second shot will eviscerate most low-level enemies, and then you'll need to finish them off. So basically the stun or the impact grenade works just like an impact grenade in terms of the react tech. The stun grenade works just sort of like a stun, but it takes a second to deploy, and I'll show you what that looks like as soon as I can find one. And where are you? The one time I need to find one. As you can see, it takes a second to deploy. Instant takedown there. You can hit that guy. Do it again. Boom. No howls for you. So the cool thing about Zofia is that you can aim her her ult just like a grenade launcher, so it's got a little bit of precision to it. So unlike Sledge, where you have to be in melee range, I can shoot all the way across over there, and that's what sort of separates her from Sledge and some of the other stun classes. Ela is pretty close in terms of her efficiency and her effectiveness. I just happen to think Zofia has some of the best perks and some of the best kit overall in the entire game, and I believe she's probably due for a nerf. Now, if you will look at the bottom right-hand side, you will also see the recharge timer is a graphical reminder that every 120 minutes, or 120 seconds, excuse me, you will get a new impact grenade and you will get a new stun grenade. So keep that in mind as you're walking around. You can kind of see when you're getting close to needing a new one. And then you can pull it out and do the same exact thing. So just basic tips there. You know, you kind of want to remember that these aren't going to be used to kill Archeans as much as they are going to be used to control Archeans. They can certainly do damage to nests. They can do damage to low-level Archies. But for the most part, it's all about control and knockback and stun. You're not going to really want to rely on this as a means of killing them because it's sort of a waste. Two impact grenades are so valuable that you don't want to really use them as a way to kill Archeans unless there's a group of them. Like, let's say there's 7 of them right here. You can pull out your, impact grenade, do 2 of those shots, and you've not wasted them necessarily. But for the most part, you kind of want to, pull out your stun, do that, and then kill whatever Archean arrives with your gun. So use it more as a way to control than as a damage class. So I want to demonstrate one point here. We're going to leave this last aberrant nest up so that we can take some damage. I want to show you what it's like to play with what sort of separates Zofia from anyone else in the game, in my opinion. As you can see, we have 118 bullets here. We're going to go down intentionally. I'm going to shoot these guys, which will give me a bonus health, keep me from going down immediately, and then we're going to use Withstand. Now, as you can see there, you also have the ability to use your revive kit. I don't recommend that. We'll shoot this nest now. And objective completed. And as you can see, I've rezzed with 70 health, which is among the highest in the game. I think Doc is the only one that's higher. And I've reloaded all of my guns. So now I have a full gun LMG that would have taken 3 or 4 seconds to reload. I can kill whatever's remaining and move around. And crucially, because I have a revive kit, I will no longer go to knockout. It does not consume the revive kit unless I hit the different button. And I can use that as many times as I want to. So the only circumstance I really think that you wouldn't want to bring a revive kit is if you're not worried about going down, or if your team is effective enough that it reduces the need for that. Revive kits make Zofia essentially a one-man army or one-woman army. She can solo critical just about anything. Candidly, I think she could probably solo most of the Maelstroms by herself. And I think that that's going to end up getting nerfed here at some point in the future. One other note here too, as you may recall from my Rook video, anytime you have a Rook in your group, you're not going to want a revive kit. So Zofia and Rook is an impossibly good combination, also because of the damage reduction that Rook brings to the table. But you bring Zofia and any kind of heal class like Doc or Finka, and you can pretty much guarantee that that entire subzone is going down in a blink of an eye. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please remember to subscribe to the channel if you have not yet done so. I am live Monday through Thursday every single week, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time over on Twitch at Merkaba18. There's a link to that in the description. There's another video here on the screen. Please remember to watch those and let me know what you think. I will see you guys again next time.